On your marks! Get set!
Killian, I'll be back.
The Running Man, 20 Things They Never Wanted You to Know. It looked like just another Arnold Schwarzenegger action flick. Explosions, catchphrases, and a blood-soaked game show. But The Running Man was far more chaotic and prophetic than anyone expected. Directors quit, scripts changed mid-shoot, and behind-the-scenes battles mirrored the dystopia on screen. What began as pulpy sci-fi turned into a dark reflection of modern media, corporate control, televised cruelty, and fake freedom. Tempers flared, contracts broke, and hidden scandals nearly sank the film. Here are 20 shocking secrets they never wanted you to know about The Running Man. Shocking secret. 1. Arnold almost didn't play Ben Richards. You might think the film was always destined for Arnold Schwarzenegger, but the role of Ben Richards was almost lost to Hollywood legend history. Early in pre-production, Arnold's schedule was packed with Predator 2 and Red Heat, and he seriously considered turning down the role. Producers were desperate. They had built the movie around his action star persona, envisioning the muscular, unstoppable force that Arnold could bring to dystopian Los Angeles. The script demanded intense physicality, relentless stunts, and iconic one-liners, none of which could be guaranteed if another actor stepped in. There was even talk of casting actors like Sylvester Stallone or Mel Gibson, but studio executives feared losing the guaranteed draw of Schwarzenegger. Arnold ultimately accepted after reading the revised script, inspired by the film's thrilling premise and its unique take on a televised death game. His agreement not only saved the film, but also defined the gritty, larger-than-life tone fans remember today. Without Arnold, The Running Man might have never achieved its legendary status. Shocking Secret 2. The script was completely rewritten. Few fans know that the screenplay we know today barely resembles Stephen King's original draft. The original novel, written under the pseudonym Richard Bachman, was much darker, with a bleak, almost hopeless ending. When the studio acquired the rights, they wanted a blockbuster action film that could rival Schwarzenegger's other hits. That meant cutting large portions of King's commentary on media manipulation and society's fascination with violence, replacing it with explosions, chase sequences, and the creation of larger-than-life stalker villains. Writers were called in repeatedly, often working overnight, to incorporate Arnold's input and make the tone more cinematic. Several original characters were removed or merged, and certain death sequences were softened to avoid overly disturbing audiences. The final screenplay became a hybrid of dystopian warning and explosive entertainment. This rewrite transformed a bleak novel into a pulse-pounding cinematic experience. Shocking Secret 3. Stephen King's original story was darker. King's novel was brutal, uncompromising, and far more cynical than the movie. In the book, Ben Richards' struggle against the game show's sadistic producers is relentless, and his triumph is never guaranteed. Characters die in shocking ways that were entirely sanitized for the film, and the society depicted is unflinchingly oppressive. When producers handed the script to Schwarzenegger, they had to ensure it fit his hero persona, which meant toning down the moral ambiguity and giving Richards a clear victory. The Stalkers, terrifying in the book, were stylized for on-screen spectacle, with exaggerated costumes and theatrical flair replacing psychological horror. Even the game show itself, a nightmarish playground for sadistic fun, was made slightly more accessible for audiences. Despite these changes, the movie retained King's core warning, the dangerous power of media manipulation. The book's darkness lives on subtly in the film's dystopian world. Shocking Secret 4. The iconic game show set was a death trap. The futuristic game show set, where Ben Richards fights for survival, was visually stunning, but it was also one of the most hazardous constructions on any 1980s film. Elevated platforms, collapsing floors, and towering machinery created a dizzying labyrinth. The production team faced constant risks as actors and stunt performers navigated moving floors and precarious catwalks. During one scene, a safety harness snapped, narrowly preventing a fall that could have ended tragically. Extras complained about dizzying heights and slippery surfaces, forcing the crew to continuously reinforce scaffolding and add safety mats. Director Paul Michael Glazer and the stunt coordinator argued over risk mitigation, but time constraints meant not every hazard could be fully eliminated. Despite these dangers, the set became iconic, capturing the chaotic and oppressive atmosphere of the televised death game. Every pulse-pounding moment on the set carried real risk, hidden behind cinematic spectacle. Shocking Secret 5. Real stunts almost killed the cast. The Running Man relied heavily on practical stunts, and the commitment to realism nearly cost lives. From high-speed motorcycle chases to explosions triggered on cue, actors were placed in genuinely dangerous situations. Arnold himself performed many sequences with minimal stunt double assistance, trusting the timing and coordination of stunt coordinators. One explosion went off prematurely, sending debris dangerously close to a camera operator and stunt performer. The production's insurance premiums skyrocketed after several near misses, and safety crews became a constant presence on set. Despite rehearsals, the intensity of the action sequences created unpredictable variables, forcing last-minute adjustments. These real-life dangers added palpable authenticity to the film's relentless energy, making viewers feel every pulse-pounding second. The courage of the cast and crew made the deadly spectacle unforgettable. Shocking Secret 6. The Stalkers were inspired by real gladiators. The terrifying stalkers that hunt Ben Richards weren't just random sci-fi monsters. They were inspired by historical gladiators. The production team studied ancient Roman gladiatorial combat and combined it with modern wrestling and theatrical performance to create characters both brutal and flamboyant. Each stalker had a unique fighting style, signature weapon, and exaggerated personality, designed to keep audiences engaged and terrified. Actor training was intense. Performers had to learn choreographed fight routines while wearing heavy, restrictive costumes that often impaired vision. Some stalkers even incorporated dangerous props, like flame-throwing devices and electrified nets, adding risk to every scene. The theatricality was deliberate, emphasizing that the game show was entertainment first and death second. Costume designer Bob Ringwood also added layers of neon and metallic elements, giving the stalkers a futuristic, almost cartoonish menace. These over-the-top aesthetics masked just how physically demanding and dangerous the stunts were. The Stalkers became iconic because of the mix of history, danger, and pure spectacle. Shocking Secret 7. Richard Dawson was a nightmare on set. Richard Dawson, the game show host, seemed perfectly charismatic on camera, but behind the scenes, he was notoriously difficult. Dawson insisted on numerous takes for every scene, demanding perfect timing and enunciation, which frustrated both crew and cast. His ego clashed with directors and stunt coordinators, particularly when they tried to adjust the script to accommodate action sequences. Dawson also had strong opinions about the portrayal of the show's dystopian society, frequently requesting changes to lines he deemed too dark or cynical. Tension peaked during the filming of the climactic arena sequence, where his insistence on a single line delay caused a domino effect on stunts and camera setups. Despite this, Dawson's on-screen presence was magnetic, blending charm and menace to create the iconic announcer persona that fans remember. Even the most difficult performers can elevate a film when the final cut lands perfectly. Shocking Secret 8. Arnold's prosthetics were painful. To make Ben Richards appear gaunt after months in hiding and suffering, Arnold Schwarzenegger endured hours of prosthetic makeup daily. Special facial prosthetics were applied to simulate stress, dehydration, and malnourishment, making him look leaner and more desperate. The process was grueling, sometimes taking up to 4 hours per session, and the adhesives caused minor skin irritation. During action scenes, sweat mixed with prosthetic glue, making removal difficult and painful. Despite discomfort, Arnold believed it was essential for authenticity. He didn't want audiences to see a perfect action hero surviving the deadly game without consequence. This dedication extended to his wardrobe, as shredded clothing and realistic dirt added to the appearance of a man constantly on the run. The grimace and bloodied scene felt genuine because of these painstaking preparations. Arnold's physical commitment made Ben Richards' suffering tangible and unforgettable. Shocking Secret 9. The movie predicted reality TV. The Running Man was ahead of its time, depicting a dystopian future obsessed with televised spectacle long before reality TV became mainstream. The film's game show, where contestants fight for survival while the public watches, mirrors modern programs' voyeuristic tendencies, sensationalism, and moral compromises. Writers and producers consulted social psychologists to understand media influence, creating a world that felt plausible and horrifyingly relatable. Even the concept of audience voting for winners and punishment eerily predicted live competition shows. In addition, the film critiqued the desensitization to violence, as society cheers the suffering of participants purely for entertainment. This foresight gave the movie a prophetic tone, blending action with social commentary in a way few 1980s films dared. Audiences decades later still see unnerving parallels to modern media consumption. The Running Man remains chillingly relevant in its warning about spectacle and morality. Shocking Secret 10. The film had a secret ending. The original cut of The Running Man included a darker ending, closer to Stephen King's novel. In that version, Ben Richards survives the arena but exposes the corrupt media empire with devastating consequences, leaving the society shaken and morally bankrupt. Test audiences reacted poorly to this bleak finale, prompting producers to rewrite the ending with a more triumphant and visually explosive climax. Some deleted scenes, showing Richards confronting government officials and executing subtle revenge, were left on the cutting room floor. Director Paul Michael Glaser fought to maintain as much of the darker commentary as possible, keeping certain lines about manipulation and propaganda. The final theatrical release retained glimpses of this theme, but the alternate ending remains a hidden curiosity for fans and historians alike. The Running Man could have ended much darker, making its message even more provocative. Shocking Secret 11. The arena was a real set, not CGI. Unlike today's reliance on computer graphics, the arena in The Running Man was constructed as a massive physical set. Builders poured thousands of square feet of concrete, built mechanical traps, and installed scaffolding for camera rigs, creating a tangible environment for actors to interact with. Every platform, pit, and barrier was designed to be both visually impressive and physically functional, allowing stunt performers to execute complex choreography safely, or as safely as possible in a 1980s action film. Crew members had to manually operate moving sections, swinging panels, and collapsing walls to simulate the lethal hazards of the game. The arena's design was also symbolic, reflecting the claustrophobic, oppressive world that constantly monitored its participants. For the actors, navigating the set was exhausting, often requiring multiple takes per scene, yet it added authenticity that CGI could not replicate at the time. The physicality of the set gave the movie a visceral intensity, grounding its dystopian spectacle in reality. The arena's real construction elevated the tension and immersion for viewers. Shocking Secret 12. The Stalker, Subzero. Almost killed an actor, Subzero, the ice-themed stalker, became legendary for his chilling appearance and deadly weaponry. However, the costume's freezing effects weren't just visual, they were literal. Actor Vernon Wells wore a thick layer of cold gel packs and insulation to simulate Sub-Zero's ice powers. During one fight scene, Wells slipped on a specially treated floor that was meant to mimic ice, falling into a stunt rig at high speed. The collision caused minor injuries, and the crew immediately halted filming. Safety measures were later reinforced, but the scene was kept in the final cut due to its intense realism. Vernon Wells, known for embracing his villainous roles, often pushed physical limits, making Sub-Zero one of the most dangerous and memorable stalkers. His icy persona and extreme stunts left a lasting impression on both cast and crew. Sub-Zero's danger made every arena encounter feel unpredictably lethal. Shocking Secret 13. Arnold fought for a stronger social message. Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't just want an action-packed film. He pushed for a social commentary about media manipulation, authoritarian control, and desensitization to violence. While studio executives initially focused on chase sequences and explosions, Arnold argued that The Running Man needed a moral backbone. He held discussions with director Paul Michael Glaser and screenwriters, suggesting lines and scenarios that would highlight society's obsession with televised entertainment at the cost of human life. Some of his ideas were subtly incorporated into the final script, particularly moments where the public cheers for brutality or ignores corruption. Even the Stalkers were designed to parody media personalities, symbolizing exaggerated celebrity personas and sensationalism. Arnold's insistence gave the film a layer of intelligence beyond typical action fare, creating a dystopian world that was thrilling yet thought-provoking. His influence ensured the movie had depth behind the spectacle. Shocking Secret 14. The movie almost cast a different hero. Before Arnold Schwarzenegger signed on, several actors were considered for Ben Richards, including Sylvester Stallone and Bruce Willis. Each potential casting choice would have drastically altered the film's tone. Stallone's version leaned towards a grittier, almost mercenary portrayal, while Willis might have emphasized a street-smart, sarcastic survivor vibe. Studios were torn between finding a star who could carry both the physicality and the moral weight of the story. Arnold ultimately won the role with his blend of muscular heroism and subtle charisma, which gave Richards a heroic gravitas balanced by relatable vulnerability. His presence ensured the film retained blockbuster appeal while still delivering the social critique embedded in the script. Many fans later speculated how different casting could have changed the movie's iconic status. Arnold's casting cemented Ben Richards as a timeless action hero. Shocking Secret 15. The film used real weapons on set. To heighten realism, many of the firearms and props were genuine or adapted real weapons, not plastic replicas. Stunt coordinators implemented strict safety protocols, but the weight and operation of these weapons added authenticity to every arena encounter. Actors and stunt performers underwent firearms training to simulate realistic handling, recoil, and tactical movement. Even the blanks used for gunfire had a louder, more powerful effect than typical movie weapons, startling some cast members during early takes. The use of real weapons increased tension for performers and viewers alike, making every gunfight feel perilous and genuine. Director Glaser emphasized that this approach helped audiences believe in the stakes of the dystopian spectacle, elevating the tension of every chase and confrontation. The practical use of real weapons amplified the film's gritty intensity. Shocking Secret 16. The Stalker. Buzzsaw was almost cut. Buzzsaw, the deadly chainsaw-wielding stalker, became one of the most iconic villains in the film, but he was nearly removed during editing. Early test screenings suggested his chainsaw sequences were too violent for some audiences, and executives debated whether to tone him down or cut him entirely. Arnold and director Paul Michael Glaser fought to keep Buzzsaw in the film, arguing that his presence added both terror and dark humor. Veteran stuntman James Liu performed many of Buzzsaw's most dangerous sequences, often swinging the chainsaw within inches of other actors while relying on camera angles for safety. Liu's precision and fearlessness gave the character a chilling realism, blending horror with spectacle. The decision to retain Buzzsaw paid off, as fans celebrated his terrifying yet entertaining performance. Keeping Buzzsaw in the final cut preserved one of the film's most unforgettable threats. Shocking Secret 17. Filming in the Abandoned City. To depict a dystopian Los Angeles, the production team scouted abandoned industrial areas, warehouses, and decaying streets. Many of the city exteriors were filmed in real locations that were partially condemned, giving the movie an authentic sense of urban decay. These environments created natural hazards, forcing the cast and crew to carefully plan every stunt. Cameras captured peeling paint, broken glass, and rusting metal that no set designer could have replicated convincingly. Extras were hired to move through the streets like terrified civilians, adding to the film's oppressive atmosphere. Filming in these dangerous conditions challenged both actors and crew, but it contributed to the dark, gritty tone of the movie. Every shot reinforced the idea that the Running Man's world was a harsh, unforgiving place where danger lurked everywhere. The abandoned city backdrop made the dystopia feel terrifyingly real. Shocking Secret 18. Arnold did most of his own stunts. Arnold Schwarzenegger performed many of his own stunts, despite the dangerous nature of the arena sequences. He trained rigorously for months before shooting, mastering hand-to-hand combat. Shocking Secret 19. The final broadcast scene was improvised. The climactic finale, where Richards hijacks the live broadcast and confronts Damon Killian, was partially improvised. Actor Richard Dawson stayed in character as the sadistic host, but Schwarzenegger added unplanned lines, gestures, and timing to heighten tension and drama. The improvisation created a sense of unpredictability, making the scene feel chaotic and live. Cameras rolled dynamically, following Richards as he moved through the arena and confronted Killian, capturing both scripted moments and spontaneous actions. The energy of the scene resonated with audiences, adding authenticity to the televised spectacle. Many believe this improvisation contributed to the film's enduring appeal as a dark, dystopian action classic. The improvised elements made the finale feel immediate, tense, and unforgettable. Shocking Secret 20. The film predicted reality, TV's dark side. The Running Man envisioned a dystopian society where televised entertainment exploited violence for ratings, a concept that foreshadowed the rise of reality TV. The film's televised games mirrored how audiences might be desensitized to human suffering in the name of entertainment. Writers and Schwarzenegger intentionally emphasized this social critique, presenting a cautionary tale disguised as an action movie. Many modern critics recognize the prescience of this vision, as reality competition shows and sensationalized media often reward drama and confrontation over ethics. The movie remains relevant because it combines thrilling action with a critique of media manipulation, showing that spectacle can overshadow morality. Its cautionary message about the power of media still resonates decades later. The Running Man wasn't just an action movie, it was a warning. A brutal satire that predicted a world obsessed with blood, fame, and control. What looked like entertainment became a mirror, reflecting a future that doesn't feel so far away anymore. Maybe that's why it still matters, because it shows how easily a game can become a cage. If this exposed something about the Running Man you didn't expect, share your favorite shocking fact below. And be sure to like and subscribe for more hidden stories from the movies that dared to predict our world. Remember, the show never really ends.